I really like creating stretched canvas prints. This is a great way to showcase images. I particularly like wraparound prints where the canvas is stretched around the edges of the frame. However, an issue with this is that it can force you to effectively crop the image in order to leave space to wrap around the frame. Many times, I'm not able to crop the image this much without sacrificing the quality of the composition. One image where I had this problem is this photograph of Tower Bridge in London. Before I actually made the canvas print, I downloaded this template from nationsphotolab.com, which is where I was going to make the canvas print. This template shows me where the image is going to be cropped in order to accommodate the wrapped around section. I didn't like how tightly it was being cropped at the top. I thought that this spire there wasn't enough room between the spire and the top of the frame for my tastes. However, I had seen that an alternative to cropping is mirroring the edges of the image across so that you have extra material to wrap around the frame. So I decided to go and try to do this in Photoshop. So I'm going to show you how you can mirror the edges in Photoshop, or really in any image editing program. And then I'm going to show an automated action that I made, which will do this for you automatically so that you don't have to go through this tedious process every time. So in order to do this manually, you first need to resize your image so that it's the correct size. In my case, I wanted to make a 16 by 24 print. I'm going to hit Ctrl-Alt-I to open up the image size dialog box and type in 24 by 16 inches. Okay, now I'm going to make a layer from the background. I'm going to extend the canvas by hitting Ctrl-Alt-C on Windows. I know from the Nations Photolab template that I need to extend the canvas by 2 inches in each direction. Okay, now how I'm going to mirror this is I'm going to do one edge at a time. I'm going to duplicate this layer by hitting Ctrl-J on Windows, and I'm going to open the transformation dialog box by hitting Ctrl-T on Windows. Now I'm going to go over to the anchor point section over here and hit the left anchor point. Now in the width, I'm just going to add a minus sign so that the width is minus 100%. This immediately mirrors the image across this line. And I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to duplicate the base layer again by hitting Ctrl-J and open up the dialog box again with Ctrl-T. This time I'm going to choose the top of the image as the anchor point and type in minus 100% for the height. This will mirror the image across the top edge. In order to get the corner, I'm going to duplicate that top layer, hit Ctrl-T, and I'm going to once again hit the left anchor point and hit minus 100% on the width. Alright, so now we've mirrored this corner of the image. I could continue doing this around the image, however, I have an automated way to do this. If you're only going to do this once or rarely or occasionally, you can go ahead and do this manual process. However, if you're going to make multiple canvases or you want to try out different images or different image sizes, it's kind of tedious to do this. So as an alternative, I made this action, and you can download this action from my website. So this is going to now repeat what I just did, but automatically. First, it's going to open a dialog box and ask you for what size to resize the image to, which again for me is going to be a 24 by 16, but you can put whatever you want here. Okay, now we open up the canvas size dialog box, and the default is 2 by 2 inches. Now, what you put in here is going to be dependent upon the size of the frame that you're getting and also where you're getting this printed. If you're ordering a canvas print with a 1.5 inch depth, you actually need more material added than 1.5 inches because you have to have some material to be able to staple to the back of the frame. So if you're not getting this from Nations Photolab, you're going to want to talk to the company or download one of their templates and figure out how many inches you need to add to the edges of the frame. 2 inches is not a universal number. But anyways, I'm going to hit OK. And we can see over here in the layer dialog box that it's duplicating layers and transforming all of this automatically for us. Alright, it's finished. So we've now extended the canvas by 2 inches on every side. Now before you go and get this printed, it's a good idea to check the edges of the frame and see if there's anything weird going on. One thing I noticed is that this spire has been duplicated partially up top here. And you probably wouldn't actually notice this in a print because most people aren't going to be looking at the top of a canvas print. However, it's pretty easy to fix. We can do that simply by cloning it out. Alright, so it's probably a good idea to check the edges of the frame before you go ahead and print. I'm going to flatten this layer, and I'm going to duplicate this over to my Nations Photo Lab template again. So now what we see is that the cyan lines are right on the edge of where we've mirrored. So we've been able to perfectly line up the extended canvas with these lines. So I'm completely saving the original composition. We have a nice amount of space between the spire and the top of the image, but we still have this material which we can wrap around. Here's what the print actually looks like after I sent it off and got it back. So it looks nice. I mean, I guess if you were really paying attention, you might be able to realize that it was mirrored, but I don't think that it really matters. What's important is that you're able to present this photograph in kind of a three-dimensional way, and I think it looks really great. This is a good way to be able to get a wraparound print without cropping and potentially sacrificing the composition of your image. In the description below, I provide a link to my blog post where you can download this free Photoshop action if you want to use it for your own photographs. If you like this video and want more, check out my blog at danielwitten.com/blog and hit the subscribe button below. If you have questions or feedback, I would love to hear from you in the comments.